Browns back at practice here on Thursday, getting ready to face the Lions on Sunday, and a little bit of juice to this matchup, I guess. Lions offensive coordinator was asked about the Browns run is one of the best run defenses in the league. They've done a great job shutting down Derrick Henry, shutting down Lamar Jackson, Josh Jacobs last week, and John Morton said they haven't faced a run game like ours. I guess on paper that's true, Mary Kay, with this two-headed monster at running back, but even though Jim Schwartz kind of downplayed it, I bet that quote is going to come up in the next few days.
Oh, it absolutely will come up in the next 2 days. Usually, coaches have to worry about players giving teams bulletin board material like Grant Delpit did with Derrick Henry in week 2, saying it's not hard to bring him down. Here it is a coach providing the Browns with some bulletin board material. And you can bet they're going to be fired up about this. People always want to say, oh, talk is cheap and it doesn't matter. Oh, it matters. Just ask Bill Belichick. He was the king of motivation like this. So yeah, I think it will get them fired up. They do have the number one run defense in the NFL right now, as you mentioned. They shut down all of those guys, and these guys do have David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. They rushed for 218 combined yards against the Ravens and 4 touchdowns. Not going to be easy, but they'll be ready.
And Ashley, we've been in this locker room and around these guys enough to know that somebody says something about them, whether it affects the outcome or not, they listen, they try and use it.
No, they will use it. And I mean, I listened to the rest of John Morton's presser, and it was interesting because in the lead up to that quote, he was doing nothing but heaping praise on the Browns. Jim Schwartz, I genuinely think he believes that. So this kind of bulletin board soundbite that, as Mary Kay said, I think is definitely going to work its way into the ears of this Browns defense at some point over the next 48 or so hours was kind of surprising given the tone of it. But look, for them, I'm sure it's just like, all right, game on, let's see.
And who knows, maybe like the Browns were trying to do, maybe it'll juice up the Lions a little bit too to be able to go out there and run the football. But that's not all the Lions can do offensively. Of course, they have Jared Goff, who is playing at an incredibly high level. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta. The list goes on, and Mary Kay, John Morton, first-year OC for the Lions, taking over for Ben Johnson, here in the last 2 weeks, really seems to have figured out a little bit of how he wants to use these guys.
Well, when you're talking about 90 points in the last 2 weeks, and I believe more than 900 yards in the last 2 weeks alone, you know he must be doing something right. I'm sure he had something to prove because all anybody wanted to talk about was Ben Johnson, their great OC, leaving this year. But John Morton is out there getting the job done. These guys are well rounded, they're tough, they're physical. Just Jared Goff is spreading the ball around everywhere. They're running it when they need to. This is going to be a really, really big time for the Cleveland Browns. Let's see what they've got.
Yeah, and of course, look, I'm sure Amon-Ra St. Brown, who can sit there and list off every receiver that went before him, is saying the name Anthony Schwartz a lot this week, Ashley, when we talk about looking for motivation. Just the things this Detroit offense can do, and is just how good all these players are. It's just why it's so dangerous.
It is, and I was thinking about that clip today too. I'm like, I wonder if he's going to be thinking about Anthony Schwartz this week. But no, I think again, it's kind of what I've been getting at all week. This idea of maybe the best way to contend with this offense, given all the unique skill players they have, is really to throw Jared Goff off with this defensive front. It's obviously the strength of the Browns. I think it's their best chance to be very disruptive. And again, I think it's interesting for the Lions knowing this offense did not look so high powered in week 1 against the Packers. Now, was that week 1? Was it because they faced another elite defense? Was defense where they done both? I think we'll have a better idea on Sunday.
Now, there was good news today. We mentioned this on Wednesday that Denzel Ward did not talk at his regularly scheduled day at the podium. Of course, he missed practice on Wednesday. Well, good news. He talked today. He was at practice on Thursday. It seems like full steam ahead for Denzel Ward, Mary Kay, which is huge for basically the reason we just talked about.
It really is huge, especially without Martin Emerson Jr. this whole season. You can't afford to go into a game without Denzel Ward. You're too far into your depth at that point. So to have Denzel back against this offense is very, very important. And he says he feels good. He had a toe injury. He had a shoulder injury. He feels fine. He's ready to go.
And Ashley, I mean, look, I know we've seen what Denzel can do on special teams, especially this last week where he thinks maybe he got a finger on that football. We know what he can do on defense. He's just so important to everything this team does.
He really is. And, I'm writing about Denzel Ward on that field goal play today on the blocked field goal. And Jim Schwartz, I thought, made an excellent point that you can really tell the effort of a team or a defense in particular based on how they attack kicks. And he said, you watch Denzel Ward, he attacks PATs the same way in the first quarter as he does in a potential game-winning situation. So it just kind of, that right there goes to show how important he is to this Browns team.
All right, we will have full coverage as the Browns get ready to play the Lions, all at cleveland.com/Browns.